Leading the Nasdaq slide today, semiconductor stocks. The chip sell-off coming amid reports the Biden administration is considering even stiffer regulations on exports of high-grade American semiconductor technology to China. And joining us now is Matt Bryson, Wedbush Securities Senior Vice President of Equity Research. Matt, it's great to see you. I actually wanted to start, Matt, on these comments that got a lot of attention and that former President Trump made in this interview with Bloomberg Business Week. Matt, I know you saw it, but he said Taiwan took our chip business from us. I mean, how stupid are we? They took all of our chip business. They're immensely wealthy. The reaction, Matt, and some of the names you cover, I know you covered Taiwan Semi. It's down, Matt, almost 8% here. What's interesting for investors to think about is, we are building out our domestic chip manufacturing in this country. We're putting a lot of money and time and effort into it. But it's such an enormous project, Matt. I mean, there are analysts who say if you're really going to do that, it's not just money. You have to think about your education policies, your immigration policies. It's enormous. For now, we are very much, and listen, you know the company, you know the space. It seems that we're still very much dependent on some of these names getting hit today, like Taiwan Semi.
Yeah, no, there's no way you can move away from Taiwan Semi anytime in the near future. When you think about iPhones, right, the core processor of every iPhone comes out of Taiwan Semi. Every AMD chip, so a lot of our server chips, a lot of our PC chips, they all come out of Taiwan Semi. Nvidia, so all their AI chips are fabbed at Taiwan Semi. You can go down the list. Qualcomm, so again, every smartphone modem, because MediaTek as well is fabbed at Taiwan Semi. And so, no, we can't live without Taiwan Semiconductor. And when you think about how much money Taiwan Semi has been spending on equipment, 30, 40 billion a year in terms of CapEx, you can't replace it even if you can duplicate their technology. And so, no, Taiwan Semi is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Matt, so given that, do you think that the sell-off that we're seeing in this group today is justified? Do you think that people should be taking these threats seriously? Or because of what you're saying, like Taiwan Semi is not going anywhere, we need them, or the US-based chip makers need them, that there isn't a real threat that that any U.S. administration would let there be threats to the island?
I certainly would say that there are more likely losers, if you will, from shifts in Taiwan in U.S. policy towards China. So not necessarily commenting on ex-President Trump's remarks, but when you look at what the U.S. is doing in terms of restricting capital equipment sales into China, if they are successful, certainly that would weigh on ASML, that would weigh on some of the other capital equipment names, Tokyo Electron, and that's something to think about. Chinese policy, if those restrictions go into place, China's been far less aggressive in blocking or affecting U.S. companies. So maybe they'll take that line again, and so it's not so much of an implication. But certainly companies that export to China, if China takes a harder stance and starts banning imports, that's something to think about. But in terms of things shifting immensely for someone like Nvidia, where China is a relatively small portion of their revenue because there's already such significant restrictions in place. Thinking about moving away from Taiwan Semi anytime in the next 2 to 3 years, I just don't think there's any real implications, right? There's no alternative to Taiwan Semi. There's no strong alternative to Nvidia at this point.
And Matt, another name in your coverage universe, I want to get your thoughts on Intel. And it's interesting, Matt, because it's kind of bucking the trend here today. It's actually up about 1%. I'm not sure what to make of that, Matt. Maybe some investors are thinking, well, CEO Pat Gelsinger, he's actually building those chip plants here in the U.S., so he's on the right side of where a lot of American politicians are at, just ideologically. But that name, you still have a neutral on, Matt?
Yeah, I have a neutral. The neutral comes down to I think at the end of the day, whether Intel is successful or not depends on its ability to get its chip manufacturing back to where it used to be. Right, 5 years ago, Intel was the leading company in terms of chip technology, in terms of manufacturing. Now they're not, and I'm still a little bit unclear on how that path progresses. Hence the neutral. But with Intel today, I think certainly it's Intel being viewed as an alternative to Taiwan manufacturing. The other stock in my coverage that's up today is Global Foundries. I would say for Intel, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Certainly, if there's a push towards supporting U.S. manufacturing, that benefits Intel, and then it gives them more resources to write the ship on the manufacturing side to get to Pat Gelsinger's vision, if you will. But at the same time, they also ship a lot of server and PC compute into China. So if you go down the path of further China restrictions, could they be affected? Maybe. Global Foundries, it's an easier story, right? They are an alternative to Taiwan Semi, to UMC for more mature processes. And so if you see a risk-off shift in terms of sourcing semiconductors, sourcing foundry capability, Global Foundries is an alternative to that Taiwan production.
Well, I guess that helps explain why the shares are higher today and bucking that downtrend. Matt, thanks so much. Really helpful stuff.
Thank you.